Let's head away from Nigeria. The Citizens Coalition for Change (CCC) leader Nelson Chamisa has, in his election campaign, promised to fix economic problems currently bedeviling Zimbabwe, which has seen retail prices soaring and the local currency fast losing its value against the US dollar. Chamisa, who is set to contest in the August polls against Zanu PF candidate President Emmerson Mnangagwa, said citizens should give him a chance to improve the economy. In a Twitter message yesterday, this is what Chamisa had to say. He said, "Bad politics can't deliver good economics. The state of the economy is the state of leadership. Prices in the shops are wild. Salaries are completely washed away. Just pay workers a decent wage in US dollars in Zimbabwe." And he said, "This time, try us. Give us a change to fix this mess once and for all." We're now joined from Bulawayo by Deputy Spokesperson, CCC Gifts, Ostalo Siziba. Good morning and thank you very much for joining us.
A very good morning to you and greetings to fellow Africans on a very great African day.
All right, happy Africa Day. Yes, indeed it is a great day for us in Africa. Your party still insists that it has the solution to the economic challenges bedeviling Zimbabwe. Do you think that Zimbabweans feel the same way, especially because it seems that there has been a lot of criticism that's been leveled against your party? One of them would be the fact that they say that even as they prepare for the elections, the forthcoming elections, that they're not willing to call out or stop corruption or election malpractice, as the case may be.
Look, Zimbabwe suffers from a broken down contract. People don't trust Zanu PF. People don't trust Mr. Mnangagwa and his administration. And Zimbabweans have expressed unequivocally their confidence on the leadership of Advocate Nelson Chamisa and the Triple C Leadership Collective to journey Zimbabwe into the path of prosperity and transformation. We articulate this clearly in our document called the New Zimbabwe Blueprint, which articulates our economic program. We're going to be unveiling it soon after the proclamation and the beginning of the official campaigns by political parties. But our document, trusted by many Zimbabweans, which we built out of consultation with Zimbabweans in the finance sector, academics, the Labour Party, Labour parties, that is the Labour movement, and of course, different experts within the African and the international community, is clear in terms of our microeconomic framework. One of the things we speak about in that blueprint is about currency reform, how we intend to resolve the currency issue, starting with confidence building, the bringing in of the basket of multiple currency regime, because the Zimbabwean dollar was caught in flagrante delicto. People don't trust Zanu PF, people don't trust the Zimbabwean dollar. So that is our short-term macroeconomic framework. But on the broad term, once we resolve, some of the macroeconomic fundamentals, we'll then be able to, to have our own currency. But that is in the long term after we deal with our reserves. So we've got a clear program on how we want to create jobs, on how we want to bring, dignity back to Zimbabwean people. So there is absolute confidence expressed by Zimbabwean people, and it is benchmark on the experience and the efforts we did during the 2008 government of national unity, where we headed the finance ministry in this country. Money was in the ATMs. People were able to, to get US dollars. We dealt with hyperinflation. We brought macroeconomic stability in the country, started initiatives to resolve the debt question. Right now, we're grappling with arrears, external and domestic debt above the clear program on how we want to resolve the debt question, how we want to re-engage with the international community, particularly, resolve our issues with the World Bank and the IMF, and of course, the Paris Club of Lenders, and our relationship back into the Commonwealth and the geopolitics of those. So we're very clear in terms of how we want to resolve the Zimbabwean question. Zimbabweans know what we did during the GNU and our capacity to deliver. We're the assumption that President Chamisa is given the mandate, So we're very clear, and Zimbabweans are confident. We look forward to driving a program to change the lives of ordinary people.
I mean, all of this, could really just be fine on paper, but practically might not be as easy as you've detailed. If we're also, if I'm correct, I'm sure that Zimbabwe has also been sanctioned by the West, by the United States and the United Kingdom more than 20 years ago, maybe even 30 years ago. These sanctions have somehow, somewhere still been in place. And so what is your candidate's plan to lift those sanctions, or to get the United States government and the West to lift those sanctions that have impeded on Zimbabwe's economic growth somehow, some way, And, is that one of the things that Nelson Chamisa also has, as part of his plans?
Of course, our foreign policy is very clear that one of the things that we want to do immediately by assuming state power is ending Zimbabwe's international isolation. So we've got a clear program on the international relations front, on our re-engagement with the SADC community, the African continent, and the world, because Zimbabwe has been isolated from the world. But let me hasten to say it very clear that, Zimbabwe, the greatest sanction on Zimbabwe is not Zidera, it's not the sanctions coming from Washington. The greatest sanction affecting Zimbabwe is Zanu PF. That is the greatest sanction in this country. You know that under Zanu PF, the economy is skyrocketing. Under Zanu PF, more than 50,000 people were massacred in 1986. And you know that under Zanu PF, a lot of people have become jobless. Young people like myself wake up at the blessing of an empty stomach and a jobless existence. So thanks to Zanu PF for hold to power without mandate. So for us, it is the politics stupid. We have to resolve the politics of this country, the politics of entitlement, the politics of impunity. You know that we lose more than $6 billion on illicit financial flows. We lose a lot of money on corruption. Just recently, every Zimbabwean was reviewed through the gold mafia, documentary, how much money is being siphoned out of this country illegally. We've got great, deposit of diamonds and gold and other minerals. Just recently, lithium is being looted hook, line, and sinker by an irresponsible government that has no mandate from the people. So we have to stop the leakages. We have to stop, a primitive accumulation of wealth and begin to focus on directing wealth for the betterment of Zimbabwe. So that for us is the fundamental focus. If we are able to do that, plus our re-engagement with the international community, resolving just recently the African Development Bank was in Zimbabwe, and they were very clear that for us to resolve our issues, debt issues with the African Development Bank, we must resolve the human rights situation in the country. We must resolve issues of governance, because the government is unaccounted. You know that COVID funds that were given to us were looted by the very same government. So the greatest sanction in Zimbabwe before Zidera, before Washington, is Zanu PF. So that is what we have to cure. Once we cure that, we're able to be self-sufficient, we're able to circumvent some of these issues of isolation. But again, we're able to re-engage, because these things have conditions, and the conditions are on our abiding with the constitution, Zimbabwe going back into a constitutional democracy by making sure that we resolve our issues. So we must borrow for the benefit of ordinary people, follow protocols. Right now, Julian Nube, the Minister of Finance, is borrowing on behalf of Zimbabwean taxpayers without parliamentary approval. So all the breaches of the Constitution, the Finance Act, read together with other states of the land is the problem. The RBZ, which is the central bank in Zimbabwe, is used to facilitate quasi-fiscal activities without parliamentary approval. So all these illegalities and illegal activities and criminal abuse of power by politicians is what must be resolved. We set strong institutions, we build strong institutions.
I mean, once again, I like the way it sounds, and I think everyone who might be considering, the CCC as an option, might also be interested in these. But, I think over time, we've also gotten to learn that the relationships that some of these governments have with their Western backers or sponsors might be one of the things that has held, or made it difficult for change to happen. So we will continue to follow up, and we'd like to bring you in again to have an extended conversation concerning this and how Nelson Chamisa plans to pull Zimbabwe out of the grip of the West and out of reliance with other players that have kept it the way it is. But thanks for joining us this morning, and happy Africa Day.
Thank you, and happy Africa Day.